$50. What's this thing called again?
Booster.
Hydroboost.
Hydroboost.
Hydroboost. $50 Hydroboost. Got that chop, baby. Chop. All right, it is already the end of May. It is hot rod season. I'm seeing people out cruising their hot rods and their muscle cars and stuff, and it is time to get this thing ready to hit the streets again. We've got a few issues to deal with. It's going to be a multi-part or multi-video thing going on here for sure, because we just have leaks once again. Like last year, we tried to address some leaks and we kind of failed there. We did fix some of the leaks enough to drive it across country. But we got it here, and I've developed another leak and additional leaks. I don't know. So we're gonna address all the leaks. So the first one is the biggest project. The only thing I didn't have leaking when we got here was the power steering pump or power steering system, and now I've developed a hole in one of the hoses. One of the things I wanted to address last year was the brakes. So this thing has a thumper cam in it, and it doesn't create a lot of vacuum, so the brake booster doesn't work very well at all. So the way I'm going to deal with that is actually I'm going to do a hydro boost, and I've been wanting to do a hydro boost for a long time, but the systems you see online, they're $600 is basically the bottom line, all the way up to $1,000 or more, depending if you want to get like a really trick one with super nice lines and stuff. It's just not in the cards, but we do need brakes on this thing. So we're going to do a junkyard hydro boost on this thing. So I'm going to find a hydro boost from an Astro van or an older Chevy pickup, and we're going to retrofit that, hopefully be able to use some of the lines to save ourselves some money there. We'll see. But that is the first video. We need to address this hydro boost or this brake issue, and we're going to do the hydro boost. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the lines off of this from the power steering pump to the box, because I want to see what kind of fittings there are. One of the problems with running a hydro boost from like a newer vehicle like an Astro van is that it's going to be metric, but we can get around that. You know, we can make it work. But I just want to get the lines off here to just know what fittings go where, and it's just going to help me when deciding, going to the junkyard and deciding which hoses to get or which hydro boost setup to get, if we can find some, hopefully. So let's get to that, get these lines off, and then we'll see you after that. Alright, well, here's our fancy chrome brake booster. Save that for a future project, I guess. One of the supports. Here's our lines right here. This was the one that was rubbed through right here, and actually this would have been really easy to replace since it's a return and I'm spilling fluid all over the place. It's not a pressure line, so I could have just replaced this piece of hose. It's just got two hose clamps. And then here's our pressure line here. It's still good, but you know, we need to deal with these brakes. The brakes they're dangerous. At highway speed, it's fine because like you let off the throttle and it creates vacuum, but when the truck is idling, you got nothing. So when you're like in a parking lot or you're coming up to a stop sign or something, or a stoplight, you got just full manual brakes, but they're not even manual brakes, I don't think, because it's a boosted system, so it's not. I think if you had manual brakes, you'd have more pressure or more leverage over it or something, but brakes just suck. So we're going to go forward with this Hydroboost. Let's go to the junkyard. All right, so here's what we got. We're at the junkyard. I'm starting to pull this one apart. It's got a Hydroboost on it. It's a military truck. It was a diesel, or is a diesel. And I'm finding out, I think this is an 86, it says. The lines are metric on it, which is a bummer. But there might be another one up there where the lines are not metric. So I'm not sure if I'm wasting my time here. I've already got some of the lines disconnected. We're gonna see. I think I might go up there and see if I can steal that other one instead. But I don't think it looks as good as this one. I don't know. I want to show you guys. So that red C10 up there, it was also metric. So we're back down here at this one. I did steal a couple that good looking line off of there, but I wanted to show you guys this. Reminds me of being in the Air Force. It's got the tower signals. So like if you're out on the field, or if you're out on the runway and the tower doesn't have control with you for some reason, or it doesn't have comms with you, these are like the light signals that they'll give you to tell you to get off the airfield or do whatever. So I thought that was neat. Just peeking around in here, you know, some old military style stuff. Got this old plug in here. Actually, the cap, I just saw the caps down here for that plug. This is a cool truck. Sucks that it actually is getting parted out. I might snag these switches here. Those are cool. But yeah, we're gonna finish. We're gonna finish snagging the actual Hydroboost off of the firewall. The dash does say 68,000 miles. It could be 68, could be 168, could be 268. It's a good chance that it actually is 68. A lot of these don't see a lot of miles. Or most of these don't see a lot of miles. So I'm gonna finish up getting this off of here. All right, so we're back from the scrap yard, junk yard, whatever you want to call it, pick and pull. What is that? Oh, it's a little piece of paper, like a gasket. Okay, so here's what we got. We've got both of the pumps were metric, so it wasn't worth grabbing both of them. Oh, I just shot myself. Fluid. Okay, so that's free. Anyway, so this is our pump. This is the one from the military. I'll have to look up what those are called again. A military truck, a diesel Chevy pickup truck, square body. Yeah. One thing I liked about it is I saw this and I'm like, oh, it's super clean. The anodizing on this is really good. The rest of it's dirty, but we'll end up cleaning that up and painting it. But I think we're going to end up getting it, you know, mounted up to the firewall first before we bother with that. So we got our pump. We got a various set of lines. So these were the 3 lines. These are the 3 lines that were on the military truck right here. They're still in this bracket. And this is one thing I kind of liked, is this little bracket bolts right here underneath the master cylinder and then kind of holds your lines. So I'm going to try and reuse that if it's possible. And once again, we'll clean that up, of course. But then I also grabbed this line because I thought that this line looked super clean. And it does look super clean. It looks like a newer one. It's made out of aluminum instead of steel, like the rusty ones. And then I grabbed this line, which should be the same as this one. I bet it's the same. It's exactly the same. So this one's nicer, so we'll end up using this one. This is the return line, I believe. It's not pressurized because it's got hoses. It's this one right here. But then also this T was on here, and I needed this T. I'm hoping that this is the factory T that they used. Because if you have the wrong size, it's not going to work very well. So hopefully this is adequate. It's got an M or a W. Looks more like an M. And it says China on it. So it might not be. It might just be a regular T. So hopefully that works. If not, we'll have to get a different T. If not, we'll have to get a different T for that. So we've got all of our lines. We got our T fitting. We've got our factory power steering lines, which hopefully we can steal the ends off of and make this work, because this is metric down here where it's supposed to go into the pump and into the power steering gearbox, and our gearbox is not metric, and neither is our pump. So hopefully we can adapt these two fittings to go on these lines. I believe, at least I'm hoping, that the lines are the same diameter. I've read that they are. I don't know 100%. But if that's the case, then we can hopefully lop off. We can hopefully just lop off the end that we don't need, double flare it, and put on the end for our steering gearbox and our steering power steering pump. So yeah, that's where we're at. Let's go ahead and just start taking a look at this and see how we're going to mount this up. And we might end up taking this bracket off of here. We'll see. There's a humongous nut under there. Well, let's just take this over and see how it looks. It's got a gasket. Gasket's probably going to have to go. Let's see if we can figure some things out. Alright, so the first thing is, if I can, I'm going to ditch these brackets here and put the pump on the firewall so that it's not way up here, and just make a cleaner installation, which I'm almost 100% sure that there's plenty of room for this in there. Pull this guy off. There we go. Put that back on the booster. Alright, so we got the rest of that rod out of there. And this is going to be one of the issues that we're going to have with this other brake booster. It doesn't have the same kind of rod in it. So we got this nice adjustable rod on here, and that one does not, and I'm not sure that the rod even comes out of it. Alright, let's try this. Let's just see how this is going to fit in here. Oh yeah. Slightly worried about the valve cover, but it seems like there's plenty of clearance. As for taking the valve cover off, that might be a different story. Alright, so I don't want to drill any extra holes in the firewall if I don't have to. So just keep that in mind. That's one of my goals here. So what I'm going to do is hopefully we're going to knock these two studs out, and these are going to most likely line up with two of the holes, and then we'll have to drill this, modify this to fit the other two holes. There's a snap ring and a big nut, but it's a 4-sided nut, so this might be hard to get off. Okay, snap ring, and then, man, I don't know about that big nut. Here. Nice. Nice. Alright. It would be nice to be able to take this off of here, but it's not 100% necessary. Let's just try it. Yep, those two fit. Alright, so those two bottom studs fit. We got to drill new holes in this top part, probably chop this top part off of this bracket, chop at least part of the bottom part of the bracket off. Alright, I realized when I was messing with this that it's really not that tight. So once I started like wiggling the pump, it started coming loose. So I was about to try and make a tool, but I didn't want to have to spend the time to do that. if I didn't have to. There we go. Okay. So now I think it's just time to go ahead and clean this up, get it all cleaned up. I'm going to go ahead and lop this top part off because I know I'm not going to need that. And I'll wait, and I'm going to have to end up modifying this bottom as well. But we basically need these two holes here. These two holes line up, and then there'll be two right up here. And then that's pretty much it. So there's also some support rods that we're going to use on this, but that's it. So we're going to go over to the fab area, and we're going to go ahead and scrape this all off and do all that and get this thing ready to go. Alright, so here's what we got going on. I do like where this is sitting. I have a pretty good amount of room between this valve cover and the and this part of the booster. I have some reservations about flipping this thing over because we have to go full 180. Like if we could just go like this, that would be ideal. Honestly, I think it would be perfect like that. But we can't because of the brake master cylinder. So we either have to have it like this or flip it a whole 180 and put it like this. Now, I know when I was looking online, some people have, a guy has done it like this. So it definitely is possible. For the lines though, I don't like it for the lines. I have to make a decision here. So I got to think about this. I'm leaning heavily towards running it the way it's supposed to run. The lines are already shaped to go this way. You know, they're all shaped to come down. You know, go over, like this one right here is shaped to go over the reservoir and come down. Same with this one. Where is that one that, oh, I got it. All right, so this one goes here. Yeah, I mean the lines are made this way. So here's our big one here. I can't remember which one goes where. I think that this one goes to the power steering box. One goes to the box and then one other one goes to the rack. So I'll have to look that up. For the lines, this is definitely the better way to go, is use it like that. So I think that's the way we're going to use it. And then so I think that's where we're going to focus on right now. Let's just finish getting this mounted. So that means we need to, I think we need to just go ahead and get the brake booster mounted, get the linkage inside, and then we'll worry about the lines, because I got to look up the lines, and I'm gonna have to cut ends off, because like I was telling you at the junkyard, these are all metric. This is metric on this end, and we got to figure out how to adapt that to the steering box. This other one, this return line, super simple. You know, it goes down to the pump, it tees off, goes to the steering gearbox, so they both go back into the pump, the return lines. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get that bracket painted up. We're gonna get this pump cleaned up and painted up, and then we can go ahead and get that on there, and then we can figure out the linkage for the pedal. We can get the brake master bolted back up and get all that situated, and then we can focus on how we're gonna route the lines, because we got brake lines to worry about. We got a lot of things to worry about. So let's go ahead, get this back out of here, and get everything painted up and final mounted. Good morning, everybody. We are back in the shop. The other day we got our old vacuum brake booster removed. We went to the junkyard. We pulled this from an 86 CUCV or whatever, military truck, square body Chevy, diesel. We got it installed. We got the bracket modified and installed that day. And we got our master cylinder back on here. We got this support rod in here. So the next thing we need to work on is the actual pedal inside. So let's see if I can show you guys. This isn't ideal for working on this because the door doesn't open very far. So you can see that the pedal doesn't quite reach there. So we gotta get this thing thinking like right about there to make it level, and then we're gonna extend this. We're gonna pull the gas pedal or this brake pedal out. We're gonna extend it a little bit, and then we'll mark it, and we'll get a new hole drilled in here, and then bada bing bada boom, that'll be it right there. So let's do that. Alright, just as a little information, if you have one of these and you need to take it out, so there's just one bolt that holds this pin in, and you slide this out, which was a pain because of the rust on the end, I think. And then you got to get the spring off, which attaches to here, and then you just wiggle this guy. You can maneuver it out without taking everything apart. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to add a little bit onto here, and then we can just basically put this back in real quick, mark where we're going to drill the hole, and then, you know, get it all back together. Came out nice and clean. Let's go ahead and fabricate, and then we'll paint all this stuff. Alright, so we're at the point where we're going to start making lines. This one, which is the pressure line from the pump to the actual Hydroboost, we're lucky that basically we're going to have to cut it here after the bend, and it's just going to go straight into the back of the box. So we're really lucky there. This one's going to be pretty easy, hopefully, if we can get the flare right. But the second one, oh, I guess I should mention, we got to cut the fittings off of the original power steering pump line and use these. So this one, straight line, flare it, put that fitting on there before we flare it. And then this one is going to be a little bit more difficult because we need to flare this end, and we don't have a lot of room to do it. So I'm not sure if it's even going to be possible, but we're going to figure it out one way or another. Alright, so let's get this stuff and let's cut this thing. So I got this flaring kit, and I got this flaring kit, and I got this flaring kit, and I got this tubing cutter. These are not the fancy ones, so hopefully we can make this happen. Alright, so this thing has a little deburring tool in it. You can just
You're just pushing it out.
Am I pushing it out?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well, also there's no nut on there.
Oh yeah.
Exactly what we had discussed.
We had talked about this.
We had talked about this, and we did not listen to ourselves. So this is the exact rookie mistake that a lot of people seem to make, including myself, multiple times. You actually need to put the nut on there before you flare it. So let's cut this nut off of here. Hey, that does look like the double flare. It looks like when we take it out of here. Okay. Let's see what we got. A little burr on there. Quite a burr on there. We need to definitely file that down. But we've got... Not bad.
Yeah. Should work.
It should work. We got quite a little lip going on here. We'll just maybe take that to the wire wheel and that'll probably knock that off of there.
Yeah.
Looks really nice on this side.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that weird little lip on there. Oh, I'm super nervous about this. I'm not sure if this is going to work or not.
It'll be fine.
It probably will be fine. Unless this line is bad and then we're just wasting our time.
Wasting our time. Actually, you're wasting your time.
Yeah. That's not bad. It's not
that great.
It's not great. But it's not terrible. Maybe once it actually goes in there, it'll just, you know, it'll help form itself.
Truck. It'll be fine. It'll be better than that thing.
Yeah. Alright, so we've been hemming and hawing about how to make this work, because if this thing actually could go on here and we could flare it, then it would fit decently. It would work. But the problem is there's not enough room to get the flare tool and everything else, and you know, and the little extension on there. There's just not enough room. So we've been playing with both hoses that we have, and I think the best case scenario is we're actually going to cut this bend off right here. We're going to flare it, put this nut on here. We're going to go straight through. The inner fender well is right in the way of the box. But what's going to happen is I'm going to drill a hole, and it's going to go straight through the inner fender and straight down into the box. And then Russell went to his house because he's got a flaring, or not a flaring tool, but like a tubing bending tool. And we're probably going to put a little kink on this once it comes up out of there to clear the power steering pump. And then we might play with these lines a little bit to try to get them to fit better as well. So that's what I'm going to work on. So I'm going to get this cut and flared, and then I'm going to drill that hole in the bottom there. And then when he gets back, we'll be able to put a bend in it, and then we'll be hopefully closer to making this work. And then we'll be working on our return lines. That might be all we need.
We might need more, but I don't want to go too far.
No, let's not go too far.
Because if we go too far, then we're going to be stuck. We'll go to the next notch. Yeah,
we got both lines hooked up. So we zigged and zagged this one, and it kind of just came perfectly. And it goes right down into the steering box there. And then our pressure line, we did that one earlier. That one was pretty easy, straight into the back there. So next, I think we got to work on the returns.
Those will be easy.
Those will be easy if I have the hose for it. All right, so we have our hoses done. That's pretty much it right there. We got the tie down, this tie down that came off of the CUCV military truck, holding all three lines here. We've got our pressure lines and then our return system right here with our T, and it all fits really well. So the last thing we need to do is get that pedal back in there. We got it painted up. Let's go see. So we got our pedal here and our pin. I only painted the end of the pin because this is like a tolerance fit and it wouldn't go in there if I had paint on it. So we'll get this reinstalled and then fluid, and then hopefully brakes. So we have everything done. We got the brake pedal hooked up inside. The return spring, the brake switch is all done. So everything's good in there. So now basically we got to bleed this thing. Bleeding a Hydroboost can be tough because it's got to bleed through the whole Hydroboost thing up here, all of these lines, all the way down to the gearbox, bleed the gearbox out, the whole hydraulic system. So it can take a while. So we're just going to run this thing and hopefully we can get it bled out and take this thing for a test drive. Hook the battery back up first, I guess.
It'd be a positive start to the situation.
Oh, positive start.
Spilt a whole bunch.
You got a leak?
No.
Oh. Oh yeah, it's gonna smoke. I got some stuff on the header.
Oh God. Don't do anything right now.
Okay, what's happening?
We're bubbling out.
Backfilling?
Yeah.
Might be better if we start it.
Alright, yeah.
Let's see if we can fix that shock.
Yeah.
So let's put it up and we'll put the jack under it and we'll try to take the weight off of it and then we'll... Oh yeah, there we go. Now we're loose. Okay, so there you go. Shock lost its nut. Probably on the road trip. It's probably been like that for a while. And that is a weird big fine thread. Yeah. That's why I was worried about. So we're gonna see if we can find that. Find a nut for that.
So we can go for a joyride.
And then... there. I had some of these hanging in my toolbox, and then I think I used them for some sort of project. I think I remember using them. I was hanging on to them for a while. What am I going to use those for? We found a nut. Got lucky. This is probably why it is how it is right now. Who designed this shock bracket? You can't put a wrench on.
Well, who designed the headers that go right in front of it? Well, we're in the nylon, so
you know
it should stay on there for at least 2 drives.
Yeah. Oh, something wrong this whole time.
What you get for auto light.
Yep, so there we go. We got the backing of a brake pad just hanging in. I don't know how it got out there. I don't understand why it would do that, but yeah, we definitely can get it out. I wonder if the backside's doing something like that. Probably not. Yeah, there you go. Alright, so we gotta let this down. We gotta check a couple fluids. And then maybe, if we're lucky, we can drive it out of here. Backing it out for the first time. E-brake. Hop in! Brakes work!
Yeah, brake lights work.
The brakes work.
That's good.
It definitely feel way different because I pretty much didn't have any kind of boosted pedal. Oh man.
Oh yeah.
We got brakes.
They work great.
I've never done that before at idle.
I forgot. Say. Okay.
It's got a ooh. that gas. Since we got a little. Oh yeah, this brakes are gonna be not used to that. You just have to go full, like, full on with your foot, usually. Now you can just kind of rest it on there like a normal car. Damn, see what happened. Steering feels normal. Everything was over boosted on old cars. Have you ever driven old cars where like everything is kind of like mushy, you know, like steering's really easy, the brakes are really easy. Yeah. Okay, we have oil pressure. Battery. Nice and full. Alright, brakes.
Oh, wow.
That's more brakes than it's ever had. And I wasn't even full on. Okay, we got brakes.
That's a good sign.
We got good brakes.
You want to pull up in here? I'll check the fluid.
For what? Oh, the power steering?
Yeah.
We're good. It's not making noises. I think we got most of the air out of it.
There was quite a bit that came out.
Yeah. It's got a really tight rear posi, so it doesn't like to turn full speed. Got a little bit of power. Burn fluids. All right. Step one, getting this thing back on the road. Steer's pretty good. I think it's still got a little bit of air in it because I felt a couple of little hiccups.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty much probably worked out pretty good. Let's see how much fluid we got all over the engine bay. Did we go down just a smidge?
No,
not really.
Where I left it.
Yeah, I think that's good.
It's not bad.
It might still have some bubbles in there, but that'll work itself out.
Yeah.
I call this a success. $50 Hydroboost. So we got this thing done. We used all factory lines. Yes, we had to tweak them to make them work, but it doesn't leak except for this little dribble coming out of here. But we're gonna tidy that up. We'll put a plug in there or do something. But $50, we have Hydroboost on this thing. The kits online are a minimum $600. Some of them are $1,000. $50 Hydroboost. I'm super excited about this. I've been needing this for a long time. This thing was dangerous. The brakes were dangerous at idle. So if you guys want to see more from this, we got more content coming up. We got more things we got to fix on this. Please smash that like button for me. Hit the subscribe. Hit the bell if you want to get notified of future videos coming out from DJ's Hot Rod and Fab. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.